Hey everyone, welcome back to TED Talks Crypto. Today we are going over the top blue chip coins that are available to trade in the Avax ecosystem. A few days ago I published a video explaining why I thought that Avax and the Avax ecosystem was still the best bet and the best trade in the crypto space. And so we'll go over a little bit of an update on that. I do apologize. I meant to get this out a couple of days ago, in fact, but 2 days ago, I believe it was, ChartX was down for most of the day, so I wasn't able to chart these coins, and I wanted to get that as part of the video. And then last night, I actually got through the entire video before realizing that I had not switched my microphone over to my studio mic, so it sounded like shit. So we're trying this again, take 3. All right. So I believe when I published my Avax is still the greatest trade video, we were looking right in here. I believe we were from 64 to 65. We've since shot up. Let me pull this to the 4 hours so we can see it a little clearer. And it may have been right in here. So we actually shot up overnight. We touched in the $75 range, which is phenomenal. We've come down here, retested the 13 EMA 13 very cleanly, as we did earlier, where we retested the 62 range, and we've got 2 green candles. This looks like a very similar pattern to here, to possibly here, to shoot us up to maybe 80, as long as Bitcoin and the larger markets behave. So this still looks phenomenal. Again, I'm not going to go over the entire thing again, but we've broken free. We are in price discovery. So if we pull back out to the daily, we are above the clouds. We are going full steam ahead. And the phenomenal thing is, we're still expecting Aave and Curve to roll out on the 22nd. So we haven't even gotten, the big liquidity coming in yet, where we get all the incentives and rewards that come with that. So the big money is going to be flowing in with that. So this all looks incredibly bullish. As such, we want to go through and look at what are some of the best plays in the ecosystem, because we want to take advantage of some of that money that's coming in. A lot of this will be centered on people will buy the Avax token, they'll stake it or they'll deposit it into Aave, and then they will borrow against that collateral, and then they'll go play. Honestly, they're going to go and they're going to look for some of these blue chip coins to have exposure to some of the more volatile assets. So let's dive in. The first one we're going to talk about is BenKey. So if we pull up here, this is the BenKey site. Now, BenKey is actually the predecessor to Aave on the Avax network. It was the first money market that came in. It had a small incentive program itself, and there is still some reward distribution APY that you get through that program, though it has kind of shrunk quite a bit. And so this is one that was a great play. If I pull this up, let me pull up the chart for the key token. Of course, I got to get this wick out of here. All right, so if you see right in here, it shot up and did incredibly well, rounded out around 40 cents. And this was because this, like I said, this was kind of the Aave before Aave. This came in while everyone has been waiting on Aave to roll out. This is what they have been using. Very similar setup. If we come back here, you deposit an asset. You can deposit Link, USDT, Avax, wrapped Ethereum, or Bitcoin, and you will get paid this 2.7% deposit APY, and you're also earning this distribution APY, which you earn in Key and Avax. Now, the cool thing is that you can, when you borrow against that collateral, it's kind of difficult to see because I don't have any assets supplied to this, but you're paying 7.1% to borrow, but you're also earning 5.57% in rewards. So that cancels out a large portion of what you're borrowing. So you're able to borrow for next to nothing. You're also earning due to this supply. So an incredible setup. we go over here, you can check out the overview tab where they have some analytics. And if you go to your rewards tab, this is where you'll claim any staked rewards. So the only issue with Key, if we go back to the chart here, you can see it had this big run up and has since just kind of churned down. This is one that I am not as bullish on as some of the other ones because of how close we are to Aave rolling out. I think this one kind of loses a little bit of steam with that, as most people will be pushing their assets into Aave and doing a similar thing to what they've been doing on BinKey. So we may lose out a little bit of steam on that. But Aave and Compound work seamlessly side by side in other areas such as the Ethereum network. So I don't believe that Aave kills BinKey by any means. I think they coexist nicely, especially once some of these incentives slow down a bit. I think they both find their place in this ecosystem. Moving on to our second coin, and maybe the one that I am most bullish about. So we'll go from the one that maybe I'm less bullish about to the one that I'm most bullish about, and that is Trader Joe. Now, Trader Joe is the sushi swap of the Avax network, okay? And so we're going to be discussing another coin that is the Uniswap of Avax. This one is the sushi swap. And the Trader Joe, the Joe coin, if we pull up here, if we click over here to the chart, this is one of the best looking charts in the space. So if we stick here, so we had the previous all-time high, and a lot of these coins will have very similar charts. So we had a great big consolidation here, a great big triangle or pennant, and we've recently busted out of that. So if we chart this real quick, we can see looking at something like that. We blew out of that, retested it briefly, and now we're consolidating above that previous resistance, which I think is incredibly bullish. We peaked above $3 just a couple of times. We've corrected just a little bit. So this looks phenomenal to me. But going back to their website, you have all of the things that you're familiar with. You have a trade, a pool tab, a farming tab, a staking tab, and as such. If you scroll down, you also see that they have voting or governance coming soon, and they also have lending coming soon. And that is one of the coolest things about the Trader Joe platform, is that it is an AMM. It's the sushi swap of Avax, but it is also currently been building lending, margin, and derivatives trading. So those are all things that are coming soon. And this is one of the hardest working teams in the space. They are constantly building. They are constantly coming out with the latest and the greatest and trying to keep up with everything in the space. So I expect them to be a leading force for the rest of the extent of how well this ecosystem does. They are also building out options and futures platforms. No date on when any of that is coming, but I think they will probably be a first mover in the space on a lot of that thing, and their TVL and should just explode. One of the biggest reasons that I am so fundamentally bullish on Trader Joe is that they are the sushi of Avax, as I've mentioned. So we can honestly compare them straight to SushiSwap. And so if we look at those numbers, we see that they have actually 1/2 of the revenue of SushiSwap. So they're earning half of the revenue that SushiSwap is earning, and they are 1/10 of the market cap that Sushi is currently at. So I don't need to say a whole lot more than that. Revenue is king in this ecosystem, in the cryptocurrency space. In general, revenue has been the driving force behind many of these up and coming coins, and as I said, they have incredible amounts of revenue. If they get to even half of the market cap of Sushi, their revenue is going to be off the charts, especially with some of these lending platforms and options and derivatives that they have coming up. So I'm incredibly bullish on this one. I think this is one of the ones that I am most fundamentally bullish on as we go through this incentive program. So let's move on to our next one. We're going to go over to Yield Yak. This one is the YFI, or the Yearn finance of the Avax ecosystem. So a theme that comes kind of through. There's a lot of these have already been built out that are similar to what you see on Ethereum or on Polygon, the Matic network, if you're familiar with that. This is a pretty simple. It is a yield aggregator, compounding functions, which, if you can see here, they pull in yield farms from multiple different farming platforms. So they pull from Trader Joe, from their own, from Pangolin, which we will discuss next, and many other ones as well, Benkey, Cycle. So you can get some really juicy APYs in their farms that they're compounding for you. And as you can see here, even if you wanted to just be the most humble farmer, expose yourself to the least amount of risk, you can even create like DAI USDT LP tokens. These would normally earn you about 38%, but when compounded as frequently as YieldYak does, they claim in their docs that they're compounding every few minutes, up to every hour or so. So with this compounding, because the fees are so low on Avax, you're able to do that. You can earn up to 46% on two stablecoin combined together into an LP token, which is phenomenal. So again, you can go through different ones. There's tons of yield to be earned. You can, if you're fundamentally bullish on Joe and Avax, you can create an LP token utilizing the two of those and earn up to close to 240% when compounded through the Trader Joe platform. So this is a great place. I haven't done a ton of farming on this ecosystem just because it has been so explosive. I didn't want to open myself up to impermanent loss. Once things settle down, though, I expect to do quite a bit of yield farming, and I will most likely be doing it on YieldYak. So there are 10,000 Yak tokens. Let's pull up the chart here very briefly. We're sitting at around 12,620. This is another one, looks very similar to Trader Joe. We had this big run up after the announcement of Avax Rush, and then as we've waited for that program to actually launch, we've kind of consolidated. Depending on how you draw it, we're still sitting underneath all-time highs. So unlike Joe, this one hasn't quite broken out yet, but this still looks very good to me. We are consolidating under all-time highs, but we have some higher highs here as well as some higher lows. So this honestly looks great. I think as we see more capital entering the space, this is absolutely one that may skyrocket. All right, let's go ahead and talk about PNG. This one is Pangolin Finance, or the Pangolin Exchange. So this one is the Uniswap of the Avax ecosystem. So we had the SushiSwap before, now we have the Uniswap of Avax. Now, Pangolin is one, and we'll check out the chart later. This one has actually been underperforming Trader Joe a little bit, which was surprising. I actually had a decent stake in this one because it was the name in the space. When Avax Rush was first announced, Pangolin was the big exchange on the scene. That is what everyone really thought was going to explode, and it did well, but Trader Joe actually was the scrappy underdog that outperformed. So if you look on their homepage, they have a link right here to the bridge, the light paper, some FAQs, or you can launch their app. They have some quite a few impressive partners down here. Really, any of the big names in the space they are partnered with, and their UI is exactly what you expect if you would ever have used Uniswap before. So you can swap here, you can pool, farm, stake. There's a voting section for governance. They also have some charts, which I was using yesterday when ChartX was down. So very simple. If we pull up their chart, as I was talking about, this is PNG. So as you can see here, they had a really nice run up. They did really well. But again, whereas Trader Joe kind of chopped and consolidated and then found new all-time highs, PNG has kind of struggled. Sure looks like it's found a bottom here. Again, we're getting higher highs, we're getting higher lows. So this is finding some footing again. And you can you'll have to look at it and decide what you think of the project. It could either be that it is simply underperforming Trader Joe, and maybe you'd rather be exposed to that platform instead. But you could also look at it as that it is simply lagging Trader Joe a little bit. Again, this is one of the biggest names in the space, so I really don't expect that it will lag forever. I certainly don't think it will stay under all-time highs as we get Aave launched and get so much liquidity in the space. So this is definitely one to look out for. All right, so now we're going to go and turn a little bit differently here. We're going to look at penguinfinance.org. So if you have done any farming on the Binance Smart Chain or the Matic network, you might recognize the format of this website. It is a very often used layout for some of the farming tokens on those ecosystems. So what sets this apart, though, from some of those degen farms that you may have seen before is that these guys are truly building out an incredible platform here. So obviously you have your farms. If you come in here, you can earn some really good yields and on really anything that you want. You can do stable coins against Avax, really any one that you want. They're also pulling in from Trader Joe and Pangolin, which is great. As we saw on the Pangolin website, they're partnered with them. But beyond that, they have some really cool other features. So if you come to the Nest tab, if you buy PFI, you can stake it here for roughly 73% right now. That varies day to day. Which is great because they give you IPFI right back to it. So if you're bullish on PFI long term, you can buy it and you can get exposure to it that way. But then on top of that, you can double dip and earn 70% by staking it right here. Now the cool thing about owning or holding IPFI is that when their launch pad launches, it says over here that it is coming soon. IPFI is what they have said will be the token that grants you allocations to their launch pads. So they are currently retooling their launch pad. I believe they had one before that was very successful, and then they retooled the IPFI and their launch pads, so they are relaunching that soon. So if you're interested at all in that, you can read up about it in their docs. And this IPFI token, while also granting you more than 70% APY, grants you allocation to those launch pads. They also have an Emperor and Arena tab over here. Both of those are coming soon as well. If we look in their roadmap, we can see they talk about that a little bit. So they have some really cool gamification things that they have already implemented and that they are working on. You can see where they have their previous roadmap, and then after their retooling, you can come down here. So they talk a little bit about the Penguin Arena, and they talk about they also are creating some next gen NFTs that is coming soon as well. So again, if you look at this 2021 roadmap, these are some things that they are currently implementing, and up here what they've built so far is just an incredible number of achievements. So this truly isn't your run-of-the-mill farm that you see on every single ecosystem. These guys are building like crazy, and I think again once more capital starts to enter the space, this is going to be one of the first farms that money comes to. So let's pull up the chart real quick on this one. And as we can see, this one is another one with a very similar chart. We had an explosive run up and kind of consolidating here. Looks to be breaking free of that bottom and moving up higher. Again, we're looking at September 22nd for this program to launch with Aave and Curve. So really only 4 days to go before we see some of this money into the space that I think really allows some of these tokens to take off. So that is it for me, guys. We went through all of the really blue chip tokens in the space. So let me know if you found any of this useful. If I missed anything, I would love to hear. If you are invested or in any of these tokens and you have something that I missed about any of these, I would love to hear from you. So let me know if this was helpful at all. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I hope to continue building out some content for you, detailing more about the Avax space. So have a good one, everybody. Happy bridging. Catch you later.